Kevin Harvell and Gus Emery from STLTechTalk.com, sitting here at Kansas City Developer Conference, KCDC 2014, with Brent Schooley from Twilio.
Yep.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good.
So tell everybody you're here not only as a speaker, but as a sponsor with Twilio. So tell us a little bit about some of the sessions that you spoke on, and then we'll move forward into what Twilio is.
Okay, so yesterday I did a session called Creating Cross-Platform Mobile Applications in C# with Xamarin. So it's a little bit of an intro into what Xamarin is and how it works, and some strategies for sharing code between iOS, Android, Windows Phone, Windows 8. So it's pretty good comprehensive coverage of why you should be using Xamarin and how it works within the Microsoft ecosystem.
Sweet. And so with Xamarin, and I know mentioning that you can do all this cross-platform developing and stuff. How are you seeing like a response with because iOS and Android, of course, the top two, and the Windows Phone now that's moving into Windows Phone 8.1. How are you seeing anything from your experience with like Windows Phone, and you're seeing a little bit more adaptive with that, or?
Yeah, so I mean, it's always been an interesting device for those of us that are within sort of the Microsoft bubble, I guess. Right. But I see it sort of picking up a little bit outside of that. Features like Cortana really help. Right. It's definitely, I've described it as Siri on steroids, because it knows a lot more about you than Siri seems to know about you, despite the fact that it's absolutely there on the phone all the time. It's not personal at all.
Right.
And Cortana has a great way of saying, hey, I know about you. I know what you're doing. Let me help you. Let me actually be a personal assistant.
I noticed in your email that you have a flight coming up. Do you want me to track the notifications? I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that kind of stuff's clever. And it remains to be seen if Microsoft can do a good job of communicating the value of that to the general population.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the marketing campaign is.
Sure.
Yep. So was that your only session, or do you have
No, I have a session today right after lunch. It's a productivity talk called What Have I Done? Which the title comes from many days of me reaching the end of my workday and not really having the ability to recap what I actually got done today. And in fact, there's been numerous times that I probably would not have wanted to recap what I've actually gotten done today, because it's like email, cat pictures, Twitter, Reddit, Hacker News.
Emergency cat.
Yeah, so what I really want is productivity cat to be there. And I talk about tips and tricks, workflows that have worked for me.
Okay.
As someone who is not a productivity expert, learning what works for me as someone who struggles with productivity, and conveying that to other people like me that struggle with that. So it's a fun session. There's no code. Talk about some tools, talk about some processes, and really just kind of have a back and forth. A lot of Q&A at the end usually. You leave about 10-15 minutes, and it's always filled with great questions.
Sounds like a fantastic session, actually. I wish I could see it.
Right. Right. So let's move it into Twilio and sponsorships.
Yeah.
You're sponsoring here at KCDC. Tell us a little bit about Twilio and what it's all about.
Sure. So Twilio is an API that allows software developers to send and receive text messages and make and receive voice and voice over IP phone calls right from their web and native mobile applications. So one way I like to describe this is your web application has a URL. Twilio gives it a phone number.
Okay. So this is where I start to get excited, because the whole mobility piece and whatnot. So the API, what type of is it a RESTful API or is it a SOAP-based API?
Yeah, it's a REST API.
Okay.
And we've got helper libraries for the REST client for various languages, including C#.
Okay. PHP, everything else too?
PHP, Python, Ruby,
perfect.
You name it.
Okay. Great. And so it's just an API. So how did the texts come back? Do they come back as a standard message format, as kind of an event style? Do you have to subscribe to it, or do you have to go out and ping it every time?
So we use webhooks.
Okay.
So when you buy a phone number, when you set up the phone number, there's two things you need to tell Twilio about. There's a voice URL and a messages URL.
Okay.
These are endpoints that Twilio will make an HTTP request to when something comes in. So an incoming call or an incoming message, Twilio will make an HTTP web request to that endpoint. and you'll just return back what we call TWIML. It's some XML instructions that tell Twilio what to do
Okay.
when that comes back.
Okay, that sounds cool because I actually have a friend that's dealing with text messages, and he actually bought SIM cards and modems and yada yada yada. And I think this would probably be a better solution for them.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to set up the account. It's $1 a month for the phone number. Text messages are 3/4 cent each, so it's a lot better than
It's cloud-based texting, is what it is, right?
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
perfect.
It's a cloud communications platform.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it does. What would you kind of compare it to that people might be more familiar with?
Yeah, is there any other? I know there's a couple other texting services, but
Yeah, there are other services. A lot of companies buy when they need to do marketing. They'll pay for these services where they get all this extra value add on top of being able to send text to their customers. Really, this is just enabling your application to communicate in a cloud world.
Yeah,
Straight and to the point.
yeah, it's just straight to the point, no fluff, no extra charges.
Don't do anything else on top of it.
Right, just
we
keep
just
it
let
simple.
you build what you want to build and communicate with the world.
So
Perfect.
keep it simple. Good.
That's really cool. So where can people find Twilio in the future? I mean, I know you've been at this conference. I saw you at Build. Where are you going to be next?
Sure. So a big conference that's coming up that we're happy to be getting behind is that conference at the Kalahari in August. And we're doing something really cool for that conference called That Bus. So That Bus 2014, we have purchased, rented out a 54-seat luxury motor coach that will be leaving from the Chicago O'Hare Westin on August 10th. And traveling to the conference. We'll get there in time for the pre-registration happy hour. And basically, it's just a bunch of geeks on a bus traveling from a major hub airport. It's about a 3-hour bus ride. We're going to do a lot of pre-conference type stuff on the bus to get everybody excited. I've heard we might even have bacon. So,
Ooh, bacon.
so it's
Bacon.
awesome. It's
That's
free.
all you need.
Bacon.
So
Like, sign me up.
certainly encouraging anybody that is traveling in for that conference to fly into Chicago O'Hare, take the Westin shuttle. They can hop on the bus. Anybody that's in the Chicago area that's going, obviously they can just stop on by. But register for it. It's linked off of that conference's site.
Okay.
But it's thatbus2014.eventbrite.com.
That's going to be an exciting conference. It's going to be my first time there, so
Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see.
This will be my third, so it's great. I've been there every year.
Okay.
So that bus 2014, that's a round trip.
Yeah, it's a round trip and it's free.
Sweet.
It's free.
Awesome. That's
So it's a
awesome.
free bus ride. You're probably going to save $150 flying into O'Hare versus flying into Madison, Wisconsin, and you get to have a lot of fun.
Right.
There's
I
some
mean,
great
great
people already signed
Right.
up.
Great people, great
Well,
networking
you're going to save the
opportunities.
car anyway, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you have to have a car either direction. So.
Yeah,
So-
and that's not cheap either.
No.
So have some fun and sign up. That sounds like a great time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. It does.
Wow.
Wish you were coming from MSP.
Right. So where can people that might not be here at the conference be able to find out more about Twilio and maybe get in touch with you after the session?
For Twilio, twilio.com, twilio.com. Check it out. Create an account. It's easy to get started. You don't have to drop a dime to start playing with it. Obviously, when you give us your credit card, it opens up some more stuff, but you can do a lot for free just to feel out the API and see if it's going to work for you.
That's perfect. That's great. That's good for developers too.
Yeah, it is.
Me personally, I'm on Twitter, at Brent Schooley is the best place, or about me, I'm on there as Brent Schooley as well.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll link to that in the YouTube video notes, so everybody will be able to find you guys really easy and link right to you.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So Brent, thanks for coming
Pleasure to
out.
meet you.
Yeah,
Thanks
it was
for
great
coming
talking
on.
to you guys.
Right.
It's been fun. Do you think you guys might be at St. Louis Days of .NET again this year?
I sure hope so.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you again then.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.